If you ask me, the biggest obstacle that I faced was myself. We have a massive hierarchy, so we respect the intern, and me as a CEO, we see all of us as the same. Because end of the day, what matters is not your designation, what you bring to the table, right? Project that you code, blog about it, talk about it, put the code in GitHub, take the risk and try it out.
Welcome to ILLUMINATE 24. So today we are going to delve into the inspiring stories and narrations of innovators and entrepreneurs who form our future. So today we have a very special guest. It's none other than Mr. Yohan, and he's the CEO of Altrium, which is one of the leading tech companies in Sri Lanka. And motivation, dedication, innovation, you can call him anything. So we have a lot of questions to ask him. So first of all, Mr. Yohan, what is the foundation? Where did it all start?
All right, so I'll go back to the point where I started my career. So back in 2008, I joined John Keys as a software engineer. Now from that point onwards, I got to work with many different clients from different parts of the world. So it's from Australasia to Europe to US. So one common constant that I saw in our interactions with teams from around the world is that most of the clients would get back to me and tell that there's something different in the kind of talent that we provide them. So there's this notion of passion and commitment that is something that they don't see in many other teams. So that got me to think like, what's the difference? Because I didn't have an answer, honestly, because they were asking, what do you do different? And I couldn't explain it. I guess it's in our genes as a Sri Lankan. Yes. So, and one thing that struck me was the fact that although we have this amazing talent and passion in the talent that we have in Sri Lanka, the opportunities that we have for them, it's limited. There are some good software companies in Sri Lanka where they can give that exposure, but not a lot. So that gap is something that actually concerned me. Now in HR, there's a model called TOP. That means talent, opportunity and passion. We have talent and passion, but opportunities are not that much. So to address that gap, we started Altrium. So what we do here is we connect the amazing talent pool that we have in Sri Lanka with opportunities that are worthwhile, where it will make a huge difference, where you can contribute to make something better. And we connect those individuals with those opportunities, and that's what made us start Altrium.
Yeah. So what is your educational background? Like, how did it like reform your future?
All right, so let me go back to my school days. So I went to school at Mahindra College, Galle, and I got into programming when I was in grade 4, accidentally. So what happened was, accidentally, what happened was, I was in grade 4 back then. I was, I think, maybe second or third of the class, and they gave some vouchers for us to go and study programming at a 2-day seminar. That got me into coding in GW Basic, and then I liked it, and that kept me going. But eventually, I decided like I should do something in software engineering. I joined APIT in 2005 after A-levels and studied in computer science. And I graduated in 2008. It's been a long time. So got a first class and was lucky enough to bag the gold medal as well. And then I joined John Keys, like I said, back in 2008, late 2008. And then I worked at Virtusa, and then I joined a company called Limak. So because of the foundation I had from my degree and the coding background, I pursued a career in technology. So I started as a software engineer, became a tech lead and architect, and eventually I was a CTO at Limak. Then at that point I was thinking, I've done a lot in technology, I'm very comfortable with technology, but I liked the entrepreneurial ideas that's happening out there. And I enrolled into an MBA program at University of Colombo, that is back in 2019. I finished it with a merit pass in 2022. And use the technology knowledge and the business knowledge I gathered from my MBA and started Altrium. So those are the key educational decisions and what shaped where I am today.
So while you were in your journey, like, what was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome? And how did you manage it?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. If you ask me, the biggest obstacle that I faced was myself. So now it might not look like it, but I was a very shy kid. I didn't want to go in front and talk. And I'm an introvert by nature, and I had to work hard to get out of that shell. And so there's this saying called, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. That's something I take to my heart. So you have to try things to experiment and see how things go, right?
That makes us fear.
Yes, exactly. So I had to overcome that fear. It can be public speaking, or it can be like trying something new, taking a risk. So all of those things got in the way. It was in my head more than anything else. The moment you get past that fear and decide, okay, I'm going to try this, even if I fail, that's okay. That obstacle goes away. I think that was the biggest challenge I had to face. It was myself.
Okay, that's a very nice answer. So, what is Altrium like? What does you do in your company, and what makes it unique? The environment, the working environment. What's the difference?
All right. So Altrium is not like a typical software company that you would see out there, because we designed it that way.
Yeah.
So we don't have any corporate red tape here, and we respect each and every individual that we have. But before I get to the culture piece, let me tell you a little bit about what we do here. So we have clients around the world, and some of the work that we do, those are at enterprise scale, and some of the work that we do, those are like cutting edge R&D. So we focus on two main areas in our solutions.
Yeah.
One is high scale, high volume software applications. Those are enterprise applications. So we use things like microservices and all that to scale and deliver to clients in complex settings, right?
Yeah.
And we also focus on AI/ML. So everyone wants to do AI/ML. A lot of people are doing R&D in AI/ML, but we take it to production. And I'll give you some examples of the work that we have done in these two areas as well. So we have one of the clients who is a global leader in the payments industry. So they trusted us with 3 different initiatives, but one of those initiatives is a payment processing platform. So this platform, right now, it is in production. It's not something that we are developing. It is out there. People are using it. Their customers are using it. And what it does is, in a year, it processes more than hundreds of billions of dollars through that platform. Now that was architected, designed, developed, and pushed to production by a team sitting right here in Sri Lanka. So, I mean, for a small team, that's a big feat. And to get a client to trust us at that level is not easy. But that's just one part of the problems that we solve. Now, in the AI/ML space, we help one of our clients to build something that we call an RFP responder. So, which is like that's a process where people had to answer a lot of questions when they get an RFP, and it used to take about 20 hours. So we used LLMs like ChatGPT and all that. So we use something else behind the scenes. We use something called Anthropic Claude for that. So we cut down that 20 hours thing into 20 minutes, and actually AI does it in few minutes. The rest of the minutes is for a human to review and confirm that this looks good. Right? That's another initiative that we did, which is again in production right now. And there's a third AI/ML initiative that we launched recently. So we are building a customer support bot, and it will be demonstrated next week in Copenhagen. There's a conference called DTW Ignite, which is one of the world's largest telco meetups. So the product that we built here is going to be demoed there as one of their key.
Sounds amazing.
Yes, so that's the kind of work we do. So we don't just take any project that comes our way. We are very selective about the kind of customers that we want to work with. And likewise, we are very selective about the people that we onboard as well, because you need to have the best of both of these areas to really deliver value, right? So about the culture piece, so what we do is we look for amazing talent. We are not really looking for technologists per se. So there are individuals who are really good at technology, but that's not the only thing, because we can actually shape them, train them on technology, teach them what to do. Yeah. We look for attitude and the cultural fit, where people would actually contribute positively, have that energy, who wants to learn, and we bring them here and we give them an environment where they can be free, where we don't have a massive hierarchy. So we respect the intern, and me as a CEO, we see all of us as the same. Because end of the day, what matters is not your designation, what you bring to the table, right? Yeah. So we give that respect, we trust them, we give them transparency, and we ask them to get the work done, and we help them in any way we can. That creates a very positive and fun environment where people move around and chat with everyone and get things done without stressing out too much. So that's the goal. But IT is a stressful industry, so it's not easy, but we are getting there.
Yeah, okay. Yohan, the thing is that nowadays, the youngsters, they want to start their own company, they want to start their own startup, right? Yeah. But the thing is that lots of these youngsters don't make it through for various reasons. Some they don't have the financial capacity, some they don't even start because it's scary.
Right.
And some just cut it through in the midway.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? What's your perspective on that?
Okay, I guess there are many different reasons, but the biggest reason why we don't see a lot of initiatives starting up is because, again, of the fear.
Yeah.
People don't even start. I mean, the folks that I speak to, a lot of people have great ideas, but you have to sit and think it through and then follow through as well. So most people don't take that step. So they have ideas, they're looking for a perfect environment to get started. That perfect environment is never going to happen. The reality is, like, there are a lot of factors in it. So financial side, like you said, is one of the concerns. But if you really look at it, I mean, some time ago, starting a product company, for example, it was very difficult. You need to have a lot of financial backing, and you have to go and pitch, and then, you know, secure funding. That is not easy. But things have changed a lot. Now anyone can, from home, write code and get things done in the cloud. And there are a lot of free tiers that we even use in our projects to do R&D. And I mean, there are different models. I don't want to go into technical details, but you can cut down the cost in different ways. Test your idea out first. You don't have to build the whole thing, right? You can do a very basic prototype, go out there and talk about it. I think financial constraints and all those things apply when you are at a later stage, but most people don't even start, don't even try. The main thing is the problem I had, the fear of, like, failing. What we need to do is to create an environment where we feel it's okay. I mean, think about when we were babies. When we learned to walk, we didn't walk in the first go, right? We fell, we got up and tried again. But for some reason, we lose that attitude when we become adults. So if people try, I'm pretty sure things will happen. I mean, there's a great book called 10% Entrepreneur. So what that means is, while you're doing a job, you can try something out. You don't have to give up and embrace entrepreneurship as the one thing that you do. While you're doing a job, if you have the desire and the passion, you can start something, pilot something, test it out. And if it works out, commit yourself into that. But I don't think a lot of people take that step. I think that's the bigger obstacle than financial or any other concerns that comes along the way.
They'll rather stay where they are.
Comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the comfort zone too for so many years, and that gets to us. But at some point, you have to look back and think, is this what I want to do with my life? Is there something else that I can do with it? Why don't I give it a try? I think taking that first step, that I think once you do that, you have one half of the battle at that point.
Yeah. So Mr. Yohan, this is one of my favorite questions. Like, lots of successful people, like, when they reach some point, they tell that, like, even when they wanted to give up, even when they hit a wall, they are like, they had a why to keep going. Mm-hmm. They had a motive to keep going.
Yeah.
What is your why? What kept you going?
Yeah. I think it changed from time to time, and I'll tell you what keeps me going right now. So there are two aspects that come to my mind. First thing is, if you take Altrium, the team that we have here, the amount of passion and commitment that they show, when I speak to them, when we talk about various ideas, and when we try to get something done, they go above and beyond. When you see that kind of passion, you feel like you want to be part of it. Every morning I wake up, I want to be here because I know that the team is, like, doing amazing work, and to see it is a rewarding experience on its own, right? That's one part of it. Now there's a second part of Altrium's story. So this is something close to my heart. So when we started the company, we started this when the economic crisis was at its peak. Not a great time to start a company, if you ask me. And when we started things off, I had this idea of giving back. So we wanted to contribute back because the country was going through a difficult period. We want to do whatever little that we can do. Now, the conventional wisdom says you have to first make it before you start to go out and give to others, right?
Yeah.
But I don't believe in that, because someone who doesn't give from day one will never give, because always they will never be ready. Yeah. Always there's another goal to get to. So from the first dollar that we earned, we allocated 1% of that for charity to give to the community, and we kept up with it throughout. So within a few months, we managed to donate something to the National Hospital. They had some equipment shortage, and we managed to chip in. The kind of satisfaction that we got out of that, I don't think it matches anything else. So at that point, I was thinking, it was the very beginning of the company at that time. We were not stable like this at that time. So one of the fears I had was I couldn't even sleep when I decided to start the company, because I had to make sure that the salaries are paid, because the folks who are here, they trusted me, they took a risk. I want to make sure that they don't get in trouble, right? That kept me up in the night. But then later on, things were a little bit stable and we were giving back. And I was thinking, okay, if this thing fails, that's okay, because we did something good. There are individuals who are living and breathing today because Altrium existed. That gives so much courage for me to try things out and try to expand, because we can do greater good to the community that's in and around us. So that's something in the DNA of each and every person here. We are looking out for opportunities to give back, and we will keep up with it, and we will do even more in the days to come. And that satisfaction is a huge motivation on its own.
Yes. Okay. So, are there any moments that reshaped your career choices and future actually?
Quite a few. So one thing that happened was when I joined John Keys JKCS at that time, it was called JKIT. I was like, I think, few months into the job. I was a software engineer that is like at the lowest of the hierarchy. So there was this project that I was working on, and I felt like the tech stack is outdated. It is not my place to go and change a tech stack, but I didn't like it and I want to try something new. So I had this vacation period for Aurudu, and I was at home, started coding something on my own. Took it back when I went back to the office, showed it to a couple of seniors, and they liked it. And I had the backing of my boss at that time, so he backed me up and he wanted to push it through, and it became, eventually grew into something that was the framework for most of the new projects at JKCS. That was a huge moment. That little decision I took to try something out on my own without anyone asking and going back, it changed my entire career, and it pushed me up to an architect position in a very short period. That changed everything for me, and the trust that my boss at that time extended to me, that helped a lot. And he was one of my mentors, and I had quite a few of mentors like that along the way. That's one of the points. And then another point would be the decision to join Limak. So Limak was a new company. I was the first member to join, and I was at Virtusa at that time. So going from Virtusa to a startup, I was thinking it's the right thing to do. I mean, it's a risk that I'm taking, but then again, yes. But when you think about it, there's no such thing called job safety, right? Virtusa can also fire me at that time, anytime. And in the market, if you have these skills, you can always find another job. When you really think about it, some of these risks that we see are not real risks. It's just in our head. So when I got to Limak, I got exposure into a lot of things of how operations work. And again, I had a great mentor there, my CEO at that time. So he helped me to become who I am today as well. I learned a lot from him. So I was there for a long time, and I eventually became the CTO. And that was another key decision to join Limak and be part of that journey. And then the third one is, of course, Altrium. So starting Altrium changed everything for me. Again, a different perspective, different kind of responsibility. And those three, I would say, are the most significant moments in my career.
So nowadays the thing is, Yohan, like the students, like let alone a job for an intern, it's a nightmare for them. Like,
I know.
Like there's so much of competition, and like, what do you think that they are lacking? What do you think that they need to like out of the?
Yeah. So I understand the situation. So I'll give you an example. So when we advertise for some positions, we get like thousands, I think more than 2,000 CVs in a few hours. Our inboxes are flooded, and our people and culture team can't go through those resumes and shortlist because we get so many.
Yeah.
That's a reality that we're facing right now. So, but that's not the end of the road. So what everyone should think about is how to differentiate themselves. So when we get that many number of CVs, what we are looking for is not just academic excellence or just to list out some projects in there that you did as part of your coursework.
Yeah.
People who stand out, they stand out because they show that they learn on their own. Because there's a major gap between what a university can offer and what the industry expects. And although universities are trying to close this gap, it's a race that universities will lose because everything is changing so fast. You can't go and update your course curriculum that way, right? Yeah. So even when you're working as a software engineer, people should not expect the company to train them on each and everything. Yes, there are trainings, but a lot more we learn on our own. I still code, and I still learn new things. Even last week, I was taking up some courses and trying to learn a few new areas. So I think what we're looking for is that kind of attitude in the individuals that we see. So there are a few things that even for an internship someone can do. Udemy is there. There are many different free courses in YouTube. There are a lot of people teaching stuff. Take some of those courses, learn something, and build something on your own. It doesn't have to be something big. The little project that you code, blog about it, talk about it, put the code in GitHub, and then share with the world and put it in your CV. Because when we see those things in a resume, we click those things, we actually go and check what kind of code has this person written. And if it's good, we would take a chance with that individual. So those are the little things that people can do to get a better chance to stand out from the competition. And don't just focus on technology. A key thing that we're looking for is soft skills. Can this person communicate? And when we say communication, we don't mean English. English is not the first language for most of us.
Yeah.
But if you can get the point across clearly and have confidence in you, but confidence is again, it can be a bad thing as well when you're overconfident, but you have to deliver the message in a positive way in an interview to show that you are confident about what you know, but you are acknowledging about what you don't know, and you have the passion and the drive to learn on your own and apply. We take chances with people like that. So that's what you need to reflect on your CV, that you have tried something out, and there's evidence for that as well.
Okay. At last, let's say after watching this interview, someone wants to follow in your footsteps. What advice would you give them? Let's say he wants to start a business or something, or a startup or a tech company.
Right.
What advice would you give them?
So my advice is, everyone's journey is different, but we all have amazing potential in us that is just waiting to be tapped into. So my advice is, if you want to do something, read as much as you can about it, try to learn from other people's experiences, and get yourself comfortable and some knowledge, but don't wait until you are too comfortable. Because if you wait for the perfect moment, it's too late. It'll never come, and it's too late when you feel like, okay, I figured everything out about the business I want to start. Then it's too late most of the time. Someone has beaten you to the market. So do a little bit of research and don't let yourself get in the way. Take the risk and try it out, and build a network as well. Anyone who reaches out to me, I would be more than happy to talk to them and explain what I did and help in any way I can. Because there are other people before me who did that for me as well. So we all want to give back, but we want people to start. That's one thing. And the other thing is IT, and especially if you are being entrepreneurial in IT, it's going to take a lot of time. You really need to have a passion for what you do, to sit and code and get the satisfaction out of work. If you don't have it, then it's not going to work for you, because it's not a cozy life that you get as an entrepreneur. You don't have weekends, you don't have nights. Regardless of whatever happens, there's always problems coming your way. So you need to be ready for that. So build up that passion and then work hard towards it. And I'm sure when people try, they always end up succeeding one way or the other. And don't give up. That's what I have to say.
That's a key point. It's really nice to have this conversation with you, Mr. Yohan. And let's say I came to industry visit here for a couple of weeks ago, and I actually couldn't tell that he was the CEO because he was so down to earth and he was so humble. So I think that's the key point of leadership, right? He's leading by example. So that's what we want. We had a lot to learn from him, and we still can learn. We still have a lot to learn from him. And thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, Tarushal. Pleasure is mine. So happy to share my thoughts. All right.
Thanks, Yohan.
Thank you.